Hi guys, welcome back again to my channel. My name is Dami. If you're new to my channel, you're most definitely welcome. I'm a YouTuber based in London, Ontario, Canada. I'm originally from Nigeria and I share lifestyle content and also immigration content that can help your migration journey to Canada. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, this is the perfect time to subscribe. Please hit the subscribe button down below and also don't forget to like my videos. After you're done with this one, feel free to check out some of my other content as well. In today's video, as you can tell already from the title of the video, I'll be talking about the pros and the cons of living in London, Ontario. So I live right here in London. I moved here directly when I came to Canada in year 2020 and I've been here ever since then. I know a few people get confused when people say London, London, London. It's not London, UK. There is a London in the province of Ontario in Canada, so don't get confused. I'll be talking about some of the pros and the cons of living in this city, and I'll be starting with the cons, then move into the pros. London, Ontario is a really fast growing environment. According to census, the current population of London, Ontario is about 450 people, which is really growing compared to what it was a few years ago. I'll share some of the things that I think are making people move down to this city and why the city has been growing rapidly in the past years. However, I'll be starting this video with the cons, then I'll move on to the pros and things you probably want to consider before moving down here. One of the major cons is that London, Ontario, with the fact that it's a growing population, it is not a very social environment. It has a bit of social life. There's a bit of festivals, a bit of activities during the summer, but after summer, when it's fall and winter, there's literally nothing. I know in almost every part of Ontario, almost every part of Canada, during the winter, there is really no activity, but trust me, in few places in Ontario, even during winter, there's still things you can do. There's still places that you can go to. So that's one of the things that draws people away from London, Ontario. I've had a few friends that studied here and they've moved out of this place just because they can't cope with the social life here, how dead and how boring it can get sometimes. I feel like a few people have gone through all the restaurants in London. They've seen almost everywhere that you can see in London, Ontario, and they're done, they're tired, and they just want to leave, which is understandable. So that's one of the major cons in this city. If you're a social butterfly and you like being outside, like the party life, you may want to consider somewhere else and not London. The next thing that I'll say is a major con in this city is the fact that there's really not much industries and companies in London compared to some other cities in Ontario where you can have so many industries, so many companies. So this is one of the major reasons some people leave this city as well. When they're done with school, they just move out because they feel like they can get better jobs and they can get better offers in other cities that are bigger than London. This is a major con because even myself, I was very tempted to move out of London and out of the province of Ontario when I was trying to get a job because of how difficult it can get to get a job in this city. The next con I would say is that many people that like the social life, they prefer to go to Toronto, and London is really not close to Toronto. It's about 130 kilometers away from Toronto, which is about 2 hours drive. Some people just don't like the fact that it is not close to Toronto. At least if you want to live in a smaller city, you should live in a city that is close to Toronto and close to the social environment. So a lot of people move out of London, or a lot of people don't want to come to London because the distance between London, Ontario and Toronto. So if you're considering that, you may not want to come to London, okay? And another thing is that London does not have an international airport. So if you travel often or travel frequently, you may want to live somewhere very close to Toronto because that is where there is an international airport in Ontario. So it's really sad, but we have an airport in London. It's a local airport, which I think all the flights always stop by in Toronto, I'm not sure. I don't want to say something I'm not really sure about, but I think all the flights from London always stop by in Toronto before they go anywhere else. So that's something that some people may want to consider, especially if you travel really often. Another con that I have started noticing is the fact that because London is a quick growing city, it's growing really rapidly in a really short period of time. It wasn't built for this kind of growth. London wasn't really built for this kind of growth, so there's usually traffic in the cities. If you're going from point A to point B, sometimes a journey of 15 minutes can take you 30 minutes depending on the time of day that you go on that journey. So if you work very far from where you live, you may need to wake up a bit earlier than usual so that you beat the traffic, because there's usually traffic during early morning rush and also during the close of business in the evening. So that's something you really want to consider as well if you don't like traffic. That being said, I think that's enough con right now. I'm going to move right into the pros of living in London. One of the pros of living in London, Ontario is the fact that there is two major post-secondary schools in London, Ontario. There is the Western University. There is also Fanshawe College, which was a school that I went to. There are other smaller schools. I think there are other smaller colleges, but not really popular. But there are two major post-secondary schools in London, Ontario. Another pro is that London, Ontario is a very, very family-oriented city. It's really family friendly. A lot of people that live in this city are people with family, people with kids, and people that just want a very slow-paced environment to raise their kids. So if you have kids, or if you're really family oriented and you want a family friendly environment, London may be one of the places you really want to consider. The next thing is the transportation system. Transport in London is really not bad. I know it's not the best, but it's really not bad. You can get transportation from point A to point B. Having a car is really good and is very essential, especially during winter. But the transport system within London, Ontario is really not bad. You can get a monthly unlimited bus pass for $90, which is not bad because it's unlimited. And yeah, it's just good. You find buses in almost every place you go to in London, except from the new developing areas in London. Some places buses don't get to right now. I think they would get better, and it's really not bad if you don't have a car. Number 4 pro that I have is that London is relatively cheap. The cost of living in London and the cost of housing in London is relatively cheap compared to some other places, especially the GTA and Toronto. According to research, the average cost of a house in London, Ontario right now is 700,000 Canadian dollars, and that is relatively cheap compared to the GTA. In the GTA, I think, I'm not really sure, the average cost of a house in the GTA right now, I think, is 1 million Canadian dollars, which is crazy. So if you intend on getting a house or you intend on buying a property sooner than later, London, Ontario may be one of the places you want to consider because of the relatively cheap cost of housing in this city. Also, cost of renting in this city is also very, very, very cheap compared to some other places within Ontario. So you may want to consider that if you're trying to save cost in your first few years of moving into Ontario. Then number 5 pro is that London, Ontario is a it has a community feel, although it still has the city vibe. I don't really know how to explain that to give you a very great visual, but it's a small community. It's a community that, like I said, it's very family friendly. You go to the park, you see people with kids, and you still have that city vibe. You still feel like you're in the city, although it's a community that it's not so big. So yeah. Then number 6 pro is that though there are no beaches in London, Ontario, it's about 30 minutes drive to 3 different beaches. There's a beach in Sarnia, Ontario, which is about 45 minutes drive from London. There is Grand Bend Beach, which is about 30 minutes away from London. And I think there is a beach in Tillsonburg as well, which is also about 30 minutes drive from London. So if you're someone that likes the beach life during summer, yeah, London, Ontario may not be a very bad place for you because it's really not so far from the beaches. The last and final pro that I have is that it is not really cold. I know cold is relative. London, Ontario is just like every other city in Ontario. The cold is just like every other place in Ontario, so it's not as cold as some other provinces. It's a very warm environment compared to some other provinces. So if you're considering where to move to, what province to move to, Ontario is a very warm province compared to some other provinces, and London is just like every other city in Ontario. That's all the pros and the cons I have. I hope this video has helped you a bit to be able to decide if you want to move to London, Ontario, or you don't. And if you really enjoyed this video, don't forget to like. If you're still not subscribed, I don't know why, please subscribe right now. Join the family, help me grow on YouTube, because that's one of my goals in 2023. And if there is any other thing that you think people should know about London, Ontario, please drop it in the comment section. Help other people decide where they should live in Ontario. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.